Through our music and the spoken word, we will remember the legacy and teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King taught us that the time is always right to do what is right. So in these unprecedented times, let us remember that if we sincerely love each other and work together in harmony, the dissonances of the past will resolve in a perfect and peaceful cadence.
Welcome, and thank you all for watching. Throughout its 10-year history, and even in these unprecedented times, the Norman Philharmonic continues to deliver impactful programming for our community. I applaud the efforts to not only make this concert safely accessible to the Norman and OU communities, but the efforts to include some of our younger residents in elementary school as well. With recent events in our city, state, and nation, now more than ever, the world needs to hear and celebrate the messages of hope, community, and reconciliation often shared by Dr. King. Last year, I shared one of his quotes that continues to inspire my own leadership philosophy as I serve my community, my students, and my family. But this year, I want to share a quote with you that reminds us all that our own personal actions play a role in moving our communities forward to a more just and peaceful future. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. As we move through 2021, our city, state, and nation will continue to tackle the variety of unparalleled obstacles that will continue to challenge our character, test our values, and define our priorities. I invite you to find a quote that will inspire and guide you in your own lives. But right now, let us be inspired by music. Thank you to all of the performers and organizers that have kept this important event going, particularly at this time in our history when it is needed most. Let us begin with Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day us march on till victory is won.
Today marks the 38th anniversary of the Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday, and I think it's appropriate, even necessary, to step back and ask the question, why do we remember Dr. King? Why do we celebrate his birthday with a federal holiday? The simple answer to this question is Dr. King lived an extraordinary life and made deep and long-lasting contributions to American society that few have or ever will. But if we go a bit deeper, I think the reason why we remember Dr. King, why we celebrate his birthday with a federal holiday, is because he embodied the best of what it means to be human. Dr. King embodied the ideals of love, of hope, of brotherhood, and freedom. Not only was he a living embodiment of these ideals, he challenged us, not just Americans, but humankind, to embody those ideals. In other words, he forced us to look into the mirror and make change in ourselves. Dr. King is remembered and celebrated because he loved others more than he loved himself. He is remembered, celebrated because he desired to give hope to the hopeless. He is remembered and celebrated because he chose to pursue friendship with people who despised him. He is remembered because he gave up a life of comfort and luxury so that others could enjoy the fruits of freedom. He is remembered because he represents the best of what it means to be human. Dr. King was fond of saying life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Our fate as a country, our fate as a world rests on how we respond to that question. We would do well to reflect on that charge during the 38th observance of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. It is in our best interest that we do so carefully.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory.
Royalty complexion, the power's in the people, excuse the misdirection. The path we march, turn gold in reflection. The courage from his bravery echoes our profession. His every mark in his history, serving as a lesson. Love still triumphs in the face of aggression. The pressure of persistence still leaves an impression. Our roots dig deep if we ask the right questions. Greenwood's ashes spark a new generation. A black phoenix rise and spark a mind elevation. Give honor to our history and love to the fallen. Change is gonna come, listen close, you hear it calling. Turn dream to reality, it's time to see it happen. We shall overcome with mad passion. Man, woman, and child, shall we stand for the challenge? Start a future, turning fear into valiance.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Whoa, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Glory, 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 oh glory, glory. Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on till the finish. Then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, oh glory, we'll cry glory, oh glory, glory, yeah.
A man of conviction turned hero from a victim, from dark to the light. Change meant its resistance. The actions of a few move mountains from the view. Too many names to mention. When they shoot, definition of resilience got us moving by the millions. Inspired by the man who spoke peace to the villains. Holy Ghost revealed in our hands to touch ceilings. 3/5 turn whole when our minds shine diamonds. A legacy continue, I see the silver lining. Glory gon' come to the hands that keep climbing. A light that gets brighter till that light gets blinded. Never harbor hatred, leave it lost in the sea. When they speak justice, do they really mean we? I struggle just to speak, getting silenced by a knee. Crawling in the trenches, the pain inspires we. Warriors for freedom, we see it at the peak. The glory we seek with every single heartbeat.
When the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we'll be sure, we will be sure. Glory, 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 oh glory, glory,
Hello, my name is Dr. Belinda Higgs Hypolite, and I serve as the Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at the University of Oklahoma. And today we are so excited to be sharing Martin Luther King Day with you. You will hear from me and a few other of my team members as we read to you the story of who was Martin Luther King Jr. Martin's home was very happy. He had a big sister and a little brother, a father and a mother, and they were all kind to one another. Martin was filled with love. Martin also liked being at church. He learned to get along with everyone there, and he had many friends. Martin was filled with kindness. At home and at church, Martin was taught to love everyone, but not everyone was taught to love him. One day, Martin's best friend said he couldn't play with him anymore. Martin's skin was a different color. Martin was black, and his friend was white. In Martin City and in many other places, Black people were treated unfairly.
It made him sad and sometimes angry. Martin wished that all people would be kind and fair to one another. He studied and he learned and he thought about how to change things. When Martin grew up, he became a reverend and an activist. He was a leader in his community. When he spoke, his words came from his big, strong heart and filled people up with love and kindness.
Not everyone wanted things to change, but lots and lots of people agreed with Martin. Martin showed them that they could be brave and peaceful, even when they felt scared or angry. Together, they worked to show everyone else that things needed to change. One day, Martin gave a very big speech about his dream of freedom and justice for all. Many people were there to listen. Others watched him on TV. The world still remembers what he said.
I have a dream that one day we will stand up for freedom together. All of God's children will be able to join hands and sing, "Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last." Every year, we celebrate Martin's birthday to remember what he did. He filled people's hearts. He worked hard for change. He made the world more fair, and he did it because he loved people.
Welcome to this celebration of Martin Luther King Jr., my colleague, my friend, my brother. I don't particularly like celebrating because it means that he's not here, but I do enjoy celebrating because you're here. Today I want to share what I don't think very many of you would be aware of, what the all in "We Shall Overcome" and black and white together mean. When we sang those songs, they all meant black, brown, red, white, and all of the colors mixed between. So today I want to celebrate Martin's memory by reminding us that it's a we shall overcome. It's time, no, it's past time, for some individuals to stop demonizing and politicizing what Martin stood for. Maybe I'll say it even more directly to you. We don't need any more blaming, shaming, and naming people. What happened to us? Where did we go wrong? Where did we go right? Maybe I'm saying something else. Let's not spend more time now in ceremonies like this, blaming ourselves what we did not do. Let's celebrate the good things that we have done. Or as Martin once said, no, he said it several times, truthfully. He said, in our movement, there's this old saying, and he said, I don't remember where I heard this or who told it to me, but I'm going to own it, he said, and he laughed. Oh, to hear him laugh would make you want to laugh too. He laughed and said, it went something like this: we ain't what we want to be, we ain't what we're going to be, we ain't what we ought to be, but thank God we ain't what we was. Let us celebrate the fact that we're not what we once were. We're not those people. But let us not brag about what we are when we are not completely free. We are not completely accepting of other people. Let us not become the thing that we pretend that we detest it. I celebrate Martin's birthday. I celebrate his life by trying to be a better George, a better person. Gosh, I miss him. But what I celebrate happens to be you. You're here. You're here, and this 88-year-old man, I've been to that mountaintop too, and I know I will not be here much longer. But I celebrate your presence. I look forward to sometimes imagining in my mind that there will be no need for these ceremonies and celebrations because we will be doing what we gather once a year to say we're going to do. We will have done it, I pray. Martin's life has etched something on my heart that I've ascribed and concretized in my mind. The only race of any significance ultimately is the human race. Let's be humane human beings. Let's be the people that we have the ability to be. And as we sing those beautiful songs and listen to the words of those songs, and we listen to the instruments as they're singing to our hearts, let us remember Martin. He was about hope. He was about respecting other people. He was about living as humane beings. The question for each of us as we leave this ceremony and go elsewhere, will we do what our hearts told us we ought to do? Will we become those people that Martin can say, they're free at last, they're free at last. Thank God Almighty, they're free at last. Let's do it.
We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
And that was an excerpt from Forward by our Meet the composer, Libby Larsen. The symphony Forward was written by Libby for the inaugural concert of the Norman Philharmonic in January of 2011. Libby Larsen is one of the most prolific and performed composers of our time. Thank you, Libby, for all your beautiful music.
Hi, I'm Libby Larsen, and I am a living American composer. I didn't choose to be a composer. I am a composer. Since the time I was a little kid, I always have music in my head. Sometimes it's happy music, sometimes it's sad music, but it's my music. All of my classmates learned to read and write music in first grade, just as part of our learning. And so we all wrote music, really almost every day for the 8 years that we were in that particular school. I just lit on fire. So I wrote music every day, also every minute, also every every moment that I could get what was in my head out and onto paper. When I started college at the University of Minnesota, I was going to have a double major. I was going to be an economist and also a singer. I was going to sing at the Met Opera and also be a stockbroker at the same time. That was my dream for myself at age 17. But when I started college and I began to study how music was made, I'm not talking about performing, I'm talking about how Mozart wrote his music or how James Brown comes up with his music, just the kind of the architecture of music. I thought, oh my goodness, there could be a profession. Some higher power just said, this is it, kid, off we go, you know. And so I got started composing because I was already composing. When I am going to start composing a piece of music, a song for instance, it starts with a feeling. It's usually an energy or an emotion, a complete thought that I have no idea how to say, but it's there and it's going like, hello, you know. Now let's spend some time on this. I sometimes work at my piano and unlock some sound to start turning this idea into music. Sometimes I just sit quietly and I think the music in my head. Or other times, like when I wrote the Norman Anthem, I wrote that piece running around the lake with my two running buddies. And what I said, I have to write the Norman, Oklahoma anthem. I need to write this anthem. Sometimes what it takes to start a song is to believe that the song is started. You know, that's what it takes. You know, I love talking with people about my music, and often someone will ask, what's the favorite piece that I have ever composed? And there's only one answer to that, and that is the piece that I'm working on right now. I'm always in love with the piece that I'm working on right now. Sometimes I don't like the piece, you know, but I'm always in love with the piece, and it's always my favorite piece, and it has to be, because I'm giving it my heart, my soul, and my full attention. So right now, the piece I'm working on, that's my favorite piece. In 2011, I got a call from my friend Rick Zielinski, who we all know and love. And Rick, when he calls, I always know that something is afoot. He's got an idea. And Rick said, we don't have an anthem for Norman, and I would really like Norman, Oklahoma to have its own anthem. So I said, Rick, okay, I'll try. You know, I'm not from Norman. He said, okay, well, he said, why don't you look into this poem? There's a poet, E.E. Dale. That is a poem from the heart, and maybe there is an anthem somewhere in that poem. So I'm going to read the poem for you. This is the lyric for the Norman Anthem. I'm reading it right from the score of music, my handwritten score, and here it is. When I see a prairie schooner heading homeward to the west, toward the land of stars and sunshine, toward the place that I love best, then my heart goes home to Norman on the prairies and the west. Oh, my heart goes home to Norman, to the place that I love best. Phyllis Wheatley, who lived from 1753 to 1784, arrived in Boston in 1761 on the slave trade schooner Phyllis. She was 7 years old. She was purchased by Susanna Wheatley, who was the wife of a wealthy merchant in Boston. Tutored in the Wheatley home, she rapidly became one of the great poets of her time, and in fact, of all time. As such, Phyllis was freed from slavery in 1773. She married John Peters, and she had 3 children. In 1775, while traveling to the East Coast, marketing her poems, she was a published poet, one of only 3 American women poets published at the time. She met George Washington. The meeting occasioned the poem of entreaty and encouragement. It was subsequently published by both the Pennsylvania Magazine and the Virginia Gazette, and George Washington kept this poem in his pocket as he led the troops in the Revolutionary War. Grace and glory.
Sir, I have taken the freedom to address Your Excellency in the enclosed poem and entreat your acceptance, though I am not insensible of its inaccuracies. Your being appointed by the Grand Continental Congress to be Generalissimo of the armies of North America, together with the fame of your virtues, excites sensations not easy to suppress. Your generosity, therefore, I presume will pardon the attempt. Wishing Your Excellency all possible success in the great cause you are so generously engaged in, I am Your Excellency's most obedient, humble servant, Phyllis Wheatley.
I was asked to compose music for various events at the Library of Congress. And one of them was the inaugural presentation of the John Kluge Prize, which is an international prize given to a person for their work in the humanities. The Kluge Center was going to present this first award, and they asked if I might write a fanfare for the occasion, which was a great honor and a lot of fun. I produced this piece, Fanfare for Humanity, and we premiered it at the Library of Congress in the Coolidge Auditorium in 2003. The ensemble who played the fanfare was the President's own brass ensemble. Oh my goodness, such a fine group of musicians. A time out of time, the whole evening, of honoring a person who had given their lives to work for human good. I love it when people ask me, who are my musical heroes? I like to delight them by surprising them with not answering Beethoven. Although I do love Beethoven's music, my musical heroes come from all kinds of places. And one of my greatest heroes is Louis Armstrong, the great trumpet player. Louis Armstrong was famous worldwide. He toured Europe before he was accepted in the United States. But then, in around 1935, Louis Armstrong and all the musicians that he worked with, many musicians, formed a group of clubs called the Hot Clubs of America. In several cities around America, the Hot Clubs, a place where you could go and hear the musicians who played music like Louis Armstrong played. And I would write an homage to Louis Armstrong for chorus. And so we're going to present for you my Louis Armstrong movement, United Hot Clubs of America.
When we got back to London, I went over to have a look at Paris and take a little rest for a week before I had to get back home. I landed in New York the day President Roosevelt was elected, November 2nd, 1932. It had been a short trip, but I got home thinking swing music was a lot more important than I knew before. And I guess maybe I was feeling a little important about my own playing. You know how you can get sometimes. Those high C's certainly did wow me. Man.
I so admire people who speak from their heart through their own art form. And Harriet Beecher Stowe, of course, contributed an enormous gift to our American culture with her book, Uncle Tom's Cabin. I had no idea that the great soprano, Jenny Lind, who was as popular in 1850 as Taylor Swift is today, that Jenny Lind toured the United States. And on her tour, she learned about Harriet Beecher Stowe and Uncle Tom's Cabin, and she was so moved that she wrote a letter to Harriet Beecher Stowe. So I decided that, in fact, in honoring Harriet Beecher Stowe, I would set the letter that Jenny Lind wrote to her, an homage to the courage and clarity of the writer Harriet Beecher Stowe. You must know what a deep impression Uncle Tom's Cabin has made upon every heart that can feel for the dignity of human experience. So I, with my miserable English, would not even try to say a word, but I must thank you for the great joy I have felt over your book. I have the feeling about Uncle Tom's Cabin that great changes will take place by and by, and that the writer of that book can fall asleep today with the bright, sweet conscience of having seen a strong means in the creator of the essential good. God bless and protect you and yours, and certainly God's hand will remain with a blessing over your head. Yours most truly, Jenny Lind. 1850, she wrote this letter. 2021. Think about it.
I hope our music and our spoken word helps us remember the legacy and teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As we move forward together, let us all choose love because hate is too heavy a burden to carry.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes. It's been so hard living, and I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes. I go to the movies and I go downtown, but somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes. Then I go to my brother. I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes, a change is gonna come. Martin Luther King gave me royalty complexion. The power's in the people. Excuse the misdirection. The path we march turned gold in reflection. The courage from his bravery echoes our profession. His every mark in his history serving as a lesson. Love still triumphs in the face of aggression. The pressure of persistence still leaves an impression. Our roots dig deep if we ask the right questions. Greenwood's ashes spark a new generation. A black phoenix rise and spark a mind elevation. Give honor to our history and love to the fallen. Change is gonna come. Listen close, you hear it calling. Turn dream to reality. It's time to see it happen. We shall overcome with mad passion. Man, woman, and child, shall we stand for the challenge? Start a future turning fear into valiance. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be yours. Whoa, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Glory. Glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won, but we'll fight on till the finish.
Then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, oh glory. We'll cry glory, oh glory, glory, yeah.
A man of conviction turned hero from a victim, from dark to the light. Change met its resistance. The actions of a few move mountains from the view. Too many names to mention. When they shoot, definition and resilience got us.